Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures, and it's time for our weekly painting progress. And what progress it has been, because if you're watching this today, that means I am officially back at work, which means I am finally going to have to start slowing down on posting every single day, if you noticed, so every other day probably. And the amount of stuff I'm going to get done is probably going to drastically dwindle down, but that's okay, because we're still painting. But I actually got a model from Mr. Sparkletrout. He is back in the States here. And this is from that evil one. And I will forgive him for his brushstrokes on the white. It sucks, and I hate painting white too, and it's super zoomed in, so all is forgiven. But yeah, that's totally supposed to be like a, what are they? Emperor's Children. Is it the Phoenix? Phoenix Guard? Phoenix? Well, the Terminator Phoenix Terminators I know have the spears. I don't know about non-marine ones. Palatine Guards or something? I don't know, but that's what he totally is. I like the gold on the legs there. Actually, I have a couple other figures here from Sparkletrout painted up from that evil one, but I am going to hold off on those because they are from an upcoming Kickstarter that they're going to be doing, so we got a hold of those and got to paint some up. So we'll be happy to show those off soon enough, but something to be on the lookout for in the near future. If you like that evil one's designs, I think they're going to be doing an entire army again, and that's how they roll. So that's what he got, at least that I can show you right now. My stuff is all kinds of haphazard, and I'm totally realizing now that the sealer that I'm using is just sucking up the blue inks. Whenever I use them, it totally sucks them up. Case in point, I did another of these Atlan Forge Asgardians. I thought this was kind of cool with the wolf. Of course, the metallic head on the wolf totally blended in with his fur, which was not the desired result. I might have to go back over it there. Obviously super zoomed in. I really like this base. Of course, the problem with the base is the two of them on it together, you can't see all the nice filigree work and the runes everywhere on it. I'm just stepping on up to this puny little Emperor's Child. Yeah, they're on a 40mm base together, and they both just barely fit, but I thought that was a cool idea for him to have his hand resting. This model actually has a whole bunch of different variations, so you don't have to necessarily build him like this, or with that helmet, or with that loadout, or with the dog even on the base with him, but yeah, when I was going to go seal it, it was a lot more noticeable, the grooves and lines and crevices that the blue ink had seeped into. So maybe I need to stop using the cheap stuff from the hardware store and maybe go pick up some more Tamiya stuff. But I realized I don't think I've actually been to any hobby shop at all for the duration of July. I was going to say August, but August is just about to start, so I couldn't have done that just yet. Alright. Next up is an interesting model that unfortunately you can't see his eyes. I did try to paint them, but I'm going to go back and do them again. I have been on an Oni binge. And speaking of Oni, I got this guy was a freebie offered from a crowd-funded project I just kind of stumbled over on My Mini Factory without any real prior warning. So it was for Saga Miniatures Dawn of Oni, and it was for an entire Oni army. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I thought the prices were pretty reasonable for the amount of STL files. I'm obviously going to be having plenty of Oni, but if me getting the word out means more stretch goals are met, then hey, I'm all for it because I want more. But I like it. It's a really nice looking model, and if you really wanted to shave down those horns, I guess you could, and I just realized he's got like a little braid clasp thing on both sides of his head. Gonna have to go back and fix that. That's okay. And to counteract him, obviously you have to have a good rival. And this is another of those Kyoshu Neko models, and his eyes just seem to have melted into his face there. That's a bit unfortunate. And I did not do the greatest job trying to do the details on his armor. And again, the blue ink just kind of disappeared into the folds there of the layers of his cloak. This is actually a remix of an earlier model. It was originally an Oni masked swordsman. So I know one of the members of the Patreon did some remixes, and then Kyoshineko actually offered them up to everybody. So this looks like something you might be interested in. And I gotta say, Kyoshineko makes some really nice, solid, good sized, without even tweaking the measurements, samurai models. I think this is supposed to be like a Legend of the Five Rings type character, and I was thinking unicorn. I don't know if that's even the right clan. You can see him here with our Oni friend. Skills good together. You want to have some Oni samurai clashes, Test of Honor or Ronin or whatever your game of choice may be. Clash of Katanas. I saw that's actually finishing up production and I'm going to be heading out soon. Happy about that one. A random Cyberforge Street Samurai. Yeah, not the greatest paint job, and I'm okay with that. I think from a distance it'll look fine. I think the green got a little too dark. I want it a little bit lighter. Obviously we want like an orc street samurai guy. I like his look though. And to accompany him, because I keep talking about wanting to paint those ash waste nomads from Necromunda, instead we've got more Orlocks. Because that makes sense, right? I forget what these guys were called, but I got all the jetpack ones finished up. Standing jetpack. Dancing around, blasting with a jetpack. I didn't want to put them on any of those bases because every single time I use one of those flying bases from GW, they always break on me. Always, without fail. So, no thank you. And then Flamer's flaming. Backpack tube. Looking at this one, I keep wondering, maybe there's another body somewhere that I did something else with. Maybe I've already painted it and I don't remember. Her eyes look better, I thought, than how they turned out, but it's okay. And then to accompany them, I'm not liking his mask. I've gone over it, and I'm still not satisfied with the results. And I forgot to finish painting all those wires. This is also from the Orlock upgrade box kit that the jetpack guys all came in. And the dogs. The dogs, sadly the dogs. I ended up stepping on one and completely smashed it. I didn't realize it had fallen off the table. And the other one just seems to have disappeared. So we're going to have to do something about that. I have a video coming up soon, because I finally got around to filming it, on these guys, the Wargames Atlantic Aztecs. And you'll notice that his head is completely shifting off of his body. It's an interesting look. I don't know how I missed that. And I had no idea what to paint on their shields, as always. Another archer. And I finally tried my hand at doing one of the more fancy Jaguar Warrior types. Turned out alright, other than the fact that I've got static grass now stuck to him. It's going to need to get plucked out with tweezers or something. Of course, I think by the time I had finished... Well, I finished filming the video a while ago, and it's just I am slowly but surely trying to clear out. I filmed a ton of stuff over the summer, and I'm just trying to use that, especially with school starting. I want to have some free time and be able to relax and catch my breath, because starting the school year is always a bit of a breakneck thing. We go breakneck speeds when class starts back up. So I gotta have a nice depository of videos to choose from, so we'll have something on that soon. This is... It's a Titan killer from the Maker's Cult. I know that. And I want to say, was it part of their Tempest Lords? Looking at the bulkiness of him, I'm inclined to think that. But I know that they made... It looks like a Black Knight head. I don't think that's the right head. I think I put a Black Knight head on a Tempest Lord body. But if you ever subscribe or support the Maker's Cult stuff on Patreon or get their stuff on Colts or comics, games, and things, everything's totally cross-compatible. So if you want, your Berserk referenced power armor dudes with great swords, they have got you covered. In a couple different varieties if you want smaller size or bigger size. And I know there's other sword variations that they had as well. So if you want to check out any of those, as always, we will have links down below where you guys can take a look at all of that stuff. Whee! And I'm throwing models. Okay, well, this guy ended up becoming my Totally Not Warduke. Don't know if he was actually intended to be Warduke or not. The shield face makes me feel like it was intentional, and the lack of chainmail on the one arm. There is chainmail on this arm. Now, traditionally, Warduke is only supposed to have chainmail on one leg as well, but he has it on both. And his actual sword looks nothing like that. And technically, the helmet doesn't exactly either. But I figured, you know what, I'm going to roll with it, and I'm going to make myself a nice little Warduke figure. This is from Rocket Pig Games. Every now and then they'll do some actual resin-developed models. This is one of them. Usually they do their crazy, and I mean, they've got some crazy stuff for FDM printers, all support free, and I'm going to nag Sparkle Shot to print me up some of the crazier stuff I've got. I've got a huge backlog of their stuff. They're always fun to paint. And finally, to cap things off, I apologize for the lack of care on that face. I am going to have to go back and fix that up. And then I broke one of his little tassels prior to finishing him. I'm really annoyed about that. So obviously this is an Oni from... Ooh, that did not come out the way I wanted it. That looks nasty. I got to fix that too. This is from Raging Heroes. And I still can't stand that they put those drainage holes right there in their butts. It should have been like higher up or something. I don't know. But anyway, they had a whole Japanese set a while back. And slowly but surely I have been trying to work my way through that set. So, not just one Oni. We also did the boss here. And I guess I missed a spot. It's still a little glossy. I liked this guy, but it just took forever to finish him. There's just so many little details. And trying to figure out what's a skull, what's part of his belt, what's one of these little coins dangling off of him. There's just a lot going on. And they have like these weird golden cage shell things that they're wearing. So I had to do that too. He's pretty big. But he's not the only one. Finally, we got a third Oni, which technically was the Raijin model that was part of this release. I'm not happy with how his face came out. I'm probably going to have to go back and fix it. That's alright. I do like the drums. I thought that was a really cool touch. This was all a single piece, too. No glue was involved. Ah, crap. I forgot to fix those heads. Look how sloppy that is. Look how sloppy the drums look, too. I thought the silver would be kind of cool. I didn't want to just draw too much attention to the patterns on the heads of the drums, but I thought, with the silver would make it look kind of neat. Oh, yuck. I'm going to have to fix that too. So it looks like I got plenty of touch-up work this week that we're going to have to fix up. Funny enough, obviously, when things are zoomed out a little bit, it's not as obvious, and I think things look a lot better. I know I'm obviously going to be my own worst critic, but I also am happy that things are getting done. And hopefully, now that I've cleared out a lot of this stuff, you'll realize there's no Kingdom Death this week. That's because I could not finish. I started 2 models and then a third one, and I think there's a 4th now. I just keep starting things, so we got to finish some stuff. We'll see. Fingers crossed, right? It's not a bad haul for my last week of freedom, I gotta say. I'm looking forward to trying to get some more stuff. I've cleared enough space, at least, that I can start working on that big, giant dragon from the Dragon Trapper's Lodge. And they have some cool stuff. Obviously, if this is still in July, you might want to go double check. This last July, they had nothing but like a very Miyazaki-ish Studio Ghibli fantasy samurai themed stuff. So do take a look at that, or take a look at it anyway if you like, Asian mythological fantasy stuff, and it might go well with these Saga miniatures, Dawn of Oni. Otherwise, I'm going to go get myself packed up. I'm going to go make a lunch and ready for the entire day. Oh boy. Wish me luck now. I'm looking forward to being back in the class. It's kind of nice to be home, but I feel that it's much more productive and conducive of my time to actually be doing stuff with kids. So looking forward to that. Anyways, as I said earlier, all the links down below. Take a look, and hopefully you will like something you see. And with that said, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and see you back here soon. Bye-bye.